Naveen Iqbal is a talented young girl who composes classical music. She joined us to talk about how her interest in music got started.
A little play keyboard.
Oh.
And I started playing Hindi music on it, and around the age of 4 and 5, my parents realized that they're like, oh my god, she's playing Hindi music on a little child's keyboard. So it progressed to when I was 8, they got me the keyboard that's right over there.
Oh, wow.
And then, like 7 or 8, I don't remember. And then
Did you decide you wanted to play the keyboard, or were you just like,
I was just
you were just
bored,
playing and then all of a sudden everyone was like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, my hearing has something to do with it. Like, I can pick up noises, like, if it's, like, a little out of tune or not. So that's kind of like a special trait that I have. So, yeah.
That's cool.
I composed my first song on the keyboard at, like, 7 or 8. I called it Morning Breeze, or Peace, whichever one.
How did you name it? How did you decide that that's what I should call this?
Yeah, well, actually, a few years later when I called it Peace, and then my dad suggested Morning Breeze because it kind of sounded like that, but I'm like, no, I want Peace. In 5th grade, they had this program where the band and orchestra teachers from Davis Drive Middle School come in and they let you try out a bunch of instruments, and I tried out about 5. Which include like the trumpet, I tried the trombone, my arm wasn't long enough. The flute and the clarinet, and then I finally tried the viola. I'm like, wow, I really like this instrument.
Was it just perfect? Like you started playing it and you're
yeah.
like, wow, I meant to play this.
Like, she also had a violin there, but it was kind of too squeaky because my ears are kind of sensitive. So, and then she said, why don't you try a violin? So I'm like, nah, it's too squeaky. And then viola, and then I'm like, wow, that's perfect. So I signed up, and then.
But you were playing the keyboard from before, and then you just.
Yeah.
Were your parents like very happy when they heard you playing the first time? Were they very supportive? They're like, wow.
Yeah. So they kind of encouraged me to go to band or orchestra. I chose orchestra, and I started playing the viola, and it was a lot of fun.
Have you always just done like classical compositions? Because they're not, like, your compositions are beautiful. They're not very, like, you would expect from a young girl.
Actually, it didn't, like, when we started playing, it inspired me to, like, make music because of Mozart and Beethoven, how they could, like, compose music with, like, Beethoven was deaf and he could compose music just fine. So it inspired me, and,
That's wonderful. Would you say Beethoven and Mozart are some of your favorite composers?
yeah, I like I think it was Symphony Number 25 from Beethoven. We listened to that.
Do you listen to a lot of classical music?
Not a lot. I hardly listen to any music except my own.
Oh, really?
Sometimes I listen to the radio, but I'm not even listening to it half the time.
How do you get your ideas for your next music? Do you hear something and you're like, oh, that sounds like I could put it in a song?
Yeah, exactly. Like, my winning piece for the Reflections contest, I actually got the idea from an exercise from one of our books that we use in class. And, like, it just kind of sounds like the beginning of it where the viola solo is just there, and then the, second violins are added, and then the cellos, and then the first violins, and then the bass, and then it's just the melody. And so usually most of my songs are pretty much like you just start playing something, or you hear something, and I'm like, wow, I should put that in a song.
That's very cool. Do you know many people your age or whoever that have that sort of musical ear? Or do you feel blessed and special? Because that's pretty awesome.
Like, sometimes, like, when I was younger, I didn't know that it was such a good thing to have, so I kind of felt a little left out. But then I realized it's a special trait that I have, and I should be happy, but I shouldn't gloat too much.
Of course not. Gloating is bad.
Yes.
But your music is good, so that's what's important.
Yeah.
And you've had orchestras and stuff play your compositions. Is that weird when you're like, wow, I wrote that and they're playing it?
Actually, the first time we're actually going to play one of my songs on like one of our concerts, like not too far from now. That's our annual spring concert, and they're going to play two of my classical compositions: the winning piece, "Graceful Winter," and another one that my teacher, Miss Clayton, really loved, "Liberation."
Oh, wow. And your CD's named Liberation, too.
Yeah.
Why'd you name it for Liberation?
Well, it's the best song that they had, but the reason I didn't enter Liberation in is because it kind of didn't fit with the theme. So I chose Graceful Winter.
And what's Graceful Winter about? What were you thinking when you composed that one?
I think kind of like a homely type of song. It was like kind of Christmassy. I don't celebrate Christmas, but it sounds like that.
So it just makes you feel like
yeah.
it's cold, but you're sitting by the fire and
Yeah.
it's warm.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. And
There's-
you're also a great student. How do you do it all? How?
I don't know. To be honest, I truly don't know.
Do you go home and you're like, okay, I've got to spend like 20 minutes playing music today, then writing,
I'm
and
actually a big procrastinator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, how do you get it done?
I just do it.
What do you do when you procrastinate? Watch TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes play with my little sister because she's always begging me to play with her and her friends, but I still end up having fun.
Well, that's good. Are you ever playing a game and you're like, wow, if there was music to this game, this is what it would sound like?
Yeah. Like sometimes when I'm playing a video game or something, like I'm into video games. So sometimes I just kind of think of that song, one of my songs, and it's like, wow, it'd really go with this. Like once I was playing this Mario game, you were like underwater, and SeaWorld just kind of clicked into it. Like, wow, that would really go with it.
Do you ever play it in the background and be like, I'm going to play my music while I play this video game?
Oh, I don't see how that would be possible, but
Did you put in a CD player in the back?
well, back then we didn't have the CD yet, so like recently my dad made the CD.
So your dad sounds like he's been helping you out a lot, like helping you name stuff, make CDs, bringing you here for the show.
It started when I composed my first classical song, Anonymous. My friend named that one. Like we played it last year in 6th grade when we had nothing to do because our last concert was gone and there was still like 5 weeks of school left. And yeah, we played it, and like we messed up at like the very beginning, but everybody started talking about like, wow. And then Justin, that was the one who named it, he was like, wow, that is a really good song. And then when we finished playing it, he's like, I know a good name for it. And I'm like, what? And he said Anonymous. I'm like, wow, that's perfect.
Do you have a lot of friends that play music as well?
Actually, pretty much everyone I know that's in the orchestra, like all the girls are pretty much all my friends. Some of the guys too, but most of them are pretty crazy and
Big
hyper.
boys.
Hyper. They're just hyper. If you step into my class, we'll be like, wow. It's like.
So is music your favorite thing to do at school, or do you like other subjects too?
I like math, especially the way Mr. Dams, my math teacher, the way he teaches it makes it a lot more fun. He just got a new system that's like, I forgot what it was called, like, started with a T.
Why do you think math is fun?
I
You
don't
should
know.
tell everyone, because most children don't think math is fun.
I don't know. My dad loves math, so I maybe have gotten the traits from him, but I really don't know.
Well, it's a good thing. That's very good. Do you ever like think about math while writing music? Can you write some?
No.
No.
No, I
Doesn't
just
help.
think about like music really. Like this doesn't sound right, and this should be somewhere else, and sometimes it gets a little confusing.
Do you plan on it where you're like, okay, I need to make a new song, or does it just happen?
It just happens. Like when I'm doing my work in like language arts or social studies, sometimes I get bored, so I just start humming and like something random, and I'm like, that sounds really nice, and then it kind of just clicks in there, and then I go home and I have this software called Finale Notepad. It's not the real thing, but it's kind of like a preview. So it lets you like write music with like as many instruments you want. So it sounds really nice when you actually put it in there and then add all the different harmonies and it
Well,
sounds
I've
really
never
nice.
written music, so explain this to me. When you get an idea or a tune in your head, do you go like, okay, this part should be, like, do you decide what instrument plays what music, or?
At first, I just experiment with my own instrument, which is the viola, because I don't know the other instruments as well as I know the viola. So I just experiment with her, like put a few violas on the software, and then put the harmony that I would think that would go in it, and I make a few versions of it sometimes to see what sounds better. And then I make like the real thing, like add the 2 violins, the viola, the cello, and the bass. And then I put the melody where I think it should go, and then the harmony of which instrument it should go to. And
Sounds very hard. Is it hard?
No, it's not hard. Like if you explain it, it sounds hard. But if you actually do it, it's a lot of fun, and it's like.
Did you learn how to do this software and stuff in class, or did you learn how to do it yourself?
When we got our first exercise book, the software came in with the book, so it was like on a CD. And so I just put the CD and installed it, and I just started experimenting with it, and like I know so many things about it now that when I started with it, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Will you teach me some of those things?
Well, there's like the notes. There's a quarter note, a half note, a whole note, and then 8th note, and then 16th note. I think that's it. It's like, yeah, it's kind of confusing at first. Let's see. Like, if you have like a normal standard measure, it's like, we call it like a 4/4 time measure. So there's like 4 beats in a measure. So like a quarter note would take up one of those beats, a half note would take up 2, and then a whole note would take up the entire measure. And then an 8th note would take up.
And how many measures would you have in a 2-minute song?
In a 2-minute song, depends on how fast you play it. I have a song, what was it? Daydream. It's my longest. It's like, I don't know, like 100 something measures, 140. Wow. It's my longest song. So that one takes about like 2.5 minutes. And then I have another song that only has like 40 measures in there, and it takes like a minute because it's so slow.
Naveen's compositions are thoughtful and well laid out, and she played some of them for us here in the studio.
This piece is called Peace. there's a whole orchestra to play, so I'll do my best to try to play the melody at all times. This song is called SeaWorld. The second sample is from Liberation, and it's the beginning. Liberation is in D minor.
See, this is my problem because I'm so tone deaf. I can't. When you're listening to it, if you just put a slight difference between it, can you just hear the difference? Can you decide, okay, this one is like half a second that way and it sounds better?
Yeah, like you can tell like where an instrument shouldn't be playing and where it should. Like some people can, some people can't. It's just something that's kind of built in with them, and it kind of progresses if they use it a lot.
That's wonderful. Do you ever, like, when you decide, you're like, okay, it's between these two, do you get your family and friends to come listen to it and be like, which one do you like better?
I usually go to my little sister, Sadaf, and she listens to it and she's like, this one sounds better, or you should do something to this, and I do it, and then like it really helps improve most of my music. Like every single one of my pieces she has heard, so she knows them all.
Does she like music as well? Does she play?
Yeah. Now that she's seen me use Finale Notepad so much, she's actually been on it a few times, and she's made this. She's kind of experimenting with it, so it doesn't sound the best, but it's a start.
Well, that's wonderful. Are you helping her out?
A little. Sometimes she says. Sometimes it's just like, don't look at this. I want to show you when I'm done, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, maybe you should move this. Maybe you should move this up a bit, or down a bit, or this way and that way. And she listens, and then
Well, that's good.
she progresses.
Does
off of
anyone
that.
else play music in your family? Because it sounds like you both have a lot of talent.
My uncle, he has a keyboard on my mom's side.
Oh, wow.
So, but I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm not really sure.
So do you think you and your sister will maybe do like a little composition together someday, make a nice piece?
Yeah, maybe. Like, she's interested in becoming a violinist when she gets into middle school. I'm like, I'd prefer her to be a cellist, because she looks more like a cello player than a violin player.
And then you guys could play together.
Yeah, so like, but still, if she was a violin, that wouldn't matter.
So if you were in a classical band together, what would you guys name your little band?
I have no idea.
No? Maybe the
I haven't
Iqbal
really-
Sisters?
I haven't really thought about it.
Do you plan to play music when you grow older?
Maybe a little, but I guess my job would probably be somewhere in the medical area, like a researcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna make music a profession or a career or anything.
But you're going to make sure you have time for it.
Yeah. So it's just like relax and just play the keyboard or the viola. And
Do you think you'll still keep composing music, or you'll just play for fun?
I might not. It's just
It's so hard to tell now.
Yeah.
You're so young.
yeah.
And you got an award recently, didn't you?
Mhm.
Tell me about your award.
Well, first it started when I planned to enter the Reflections contest, which was in December, and we didn't have a lot of time.
Okay, just because I don't know, what's the Reflections contest?
It's this program that I don't know if it goes past nationals, but it's like a contest where different students of different ages get to show their talent and what they love to do, like art, photography, filming.
Oh wow, so a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like, I think there's 6 categories.
So you entered your piece. Which one
Mhm.
did you enter?
Graceful Winter.
Okay, and what happened?
We played it, and we're like, my class is like advanced, so half of it's advanced, half of it's not. So some took us a little more while to get it, some just shot right through it. But it worked out, and then we recorded it, and then Miss Clayton gave me a CD that had the recording, and then we sent it in the mail. And on our second quarter award ceremony for our team, like the Voyagers team, there's 4 teams in 7th grade, I'm in the Voyagers. We have like an honor roll award ceremony like after every quarter. On the second one, they told us the students who participated, they got these little green ribbons that said participant, and then I got a medal. I'm like, wow.
Oh wow.
I got a medal for winning first place in White County.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Was it just like one of the greatest moments ever? How did you feel when you got that medal?
I was amazed. I was shocked. Like, my class was cheering for me like nuts. You could probably hear them down the hall. And
Do you feel like a celebrity? You're like, yay, I'm a celebrity. They all love me.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Just a little, not too much, but
Because it's good to not be that way. You're right. You said that earlier.
and then we went in Asheville to an award ceremony, and they gave us an award for winning first place in the North Carolina. And I'm like, wow, I just don't know how to explain it. It's just amazing.
That's great. So you're just gonna keep doing music and keep winning all these wonderful awards.
Yeah. The results for the national, they're coming out this month. So
Oh wow.
I'm like,
keep your fingers crossed.
yeah.
Be like, come on, please.
They're being judged in Chicago, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Do you get to go to Chicago for that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know yet.
Oh wow. Well, that's cool. We're very happy for you. That's great. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us, Naveen. We really appreciate it, and we're very proud of you because the music that you're doing and the stuff, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So keep doing it. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, and before we leave, I'd like to give you 2 CDs. One of them is Liberation, and another one is called Peace, which has the song Peace in there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great having you here. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys.